Hello and welcome to episode 332 of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill. And I guess a shout out to Spain for winning the Women's World Cup in what had to be nobody saw that one coming.
No, congratulations. It's great for that country, great for that team. Awesome.
Yeah. So the U.S. disappointment, I guess, is now equaled by the Lionesses' disappointment because I think everyone thought that they would win now.
Yeah.
And now Sweden finished third. And now we move on. And the other soccer highlight is Messi. And Jason and I talked about this offline. He's good. But, how is the competition in the MLS compared to what he was playing in Europe? He's made a huge difference. I mean, Miami hasn't lost since he's been there. They've scored as many goals with him as they did the entire season without him. The team's still a last place team.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But he's definitely made an impact, and we'll see what else is going to happen here.
This is the first time, and again, I'm probably wrong, and you guys can certainly tweet at us because we appreciate any sort of social interaction, but I always felt with soccer, it was sort of tough for the star to shine every week, right? Like in the NBA, it's rare that Jokic or LeBron or Embiid has a bad game. You almost get the best of those guys every time. You can see who the best player is. In football, like a Mahomes, like those guys just stand out. And I felt like with soccer, and again, this is, minimal watching, but, you've been told that so-and-so is the best player in the world. You can watch an entire game where, to the uninformed eye, it might be difficult to tell. Whereas with Messi, this seems like the first time where it's like, oh yeah, this guy's better than everybody else.
Yeah. So it's been interesting. Probably selling a lot of pink jerseys.
And I don't think I can wait any longer, Dad. It's bubbling up for me. Steeler hype.
All right, go ahead. Steeler minute.
Steeler minute. My Steeler hype is going off right now. I know I shouldn't, because we've seen a lot. 3 playoff wins in the last 13 seasons, so we know what we're dealing with. But Kenny Pickett looks like he's improved quite a bit. That throw to Pat Pyre move last night, the back shoulder through 3 defenders was beautiful, perfect throw. The first team offense has had 3 possessions, has 3 touchdowns. The offensive line looks improved. George Pickens looks like he's taken a step up. Allen Robinson looks like he was a good use of a 7th round pick. Calvin Austin showing that 4.3 speed that we drafted him for in the return game. And the defense, every pick they made on defense this year with Benton, Hedberg, who looks like he might end up being the steal of the draft in the 4th round, right?
Yeah.
Pass rusher out of Wisconsin, they thought he was a little undersized, but he is just destroying people. Marcus Golden, wonderful addition. The safeties, the secondary. My Steeler hype is real. It happens every year, and I know it does for every fan base, and that's part of the reason the NFL is well beloved as it is. Because I think you can get hyped almost every single season. But I'm very excited. Washington, Mount Washington, nobody can cover him.
Jalen Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look really, really good.
And again, I know it's the second preseason game of the year. We're not even in the regular season yet, but I also feel like there's when you watch good things happen on the field, this team seems like they're very happy for each other. And I think that's
very tight. The rookie class talks about how tight they are.
Yeah. And you just see everybody getting hyped for a good play on the sideline, everybody hugging, everybody high-fiving. It just seems like there's good vibes on this team, which can really lead to a couple of wins, right?
I would think so. I think, if they're going to finish 4th place in this conference where they're picked, or this division, it's going to be a really good division.
It's going to be really, really good. So I don't know. I'm just excited for the Steelers. And I hope everybody is excited for whoever their team is as well.
Yeah, a couple of surprises last night that Sam Darnold played a lot more than Trey Lance. And we know Trey Lance needs reps.
Yeah. It seems like when you listen to Shanahan, he just seems like he just might be out on Trey Lance.
Yeah, he might be.
And again, when you talk about, cursed beginnings to your career. Like Trey Lance has had everything that could go wrong, including a global pandemic that cost him an entire season of football happen. And I don't know. But they're in that weird place where he doesn't make that much money. You don't have that much spent on your quarterbacks with a seventh round pick, Sam Darnold. So it's like, there's no financial reason to trade him, and his value is so low around the league. There's no reason you would, I don't really know what you can do, right?
Yeah, no idea. Well, let's get into our predictions.
Let's go AFC South. We'll go in alphabetical order.
Okay.
We'll go 4-3-2-1 again.
Yeah, let's go 4-3-2-1.
All right. In fourth place, I got the Texans.
Yeah, they're going to be a sorry team this year. They'll be drafting very high again to add to the pieces they have. It's going to be a learning year. Maybe they win 4 games. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud looks like he can compete in the NFL, which is good if you're a Texans fan. And I think, as the year goes on, this will be a good learning year for him. And maybe you add Marvin Harrison Jr. in the draft and you're back up and running in a couple of seasons. But yeah, we talked about last week about how there's just not that many bad football teams.
This is a bad football team.
This is a bad football team. But again, I think when you have a top 10 draft pick rookie quarterback, I think that can still be fun for your fan base, right?
I mean, it's the start of a new chapter, and
Yeah.
you have to acknowledge that that's what it's going to be. And you got to be patient because there's going to be a lot of mistakes. There'll be some nice surprises along the way, but it's just not a good team.
No. You want to do my third place?
Sure.
The Colts. I think Anthony Richardson looks really exciting, and I'm excited to watch him. You got the Jonathan Taylor stuff. You have a weird ownership. I'll just leave it at that. And Jim Irsay, who seems to be rubbing some of his players the wrong way. And, and the Jonathan Taylor situation hanging over everything.
Again, you have a team that's used to competing and is kind of just falling on hard times. And while it's not a total reboot, it probably really is a total reboot.
Yeah. Honestly, the third and fourth teams, I could see this going either way. I kind of like the Colts a little bit better as far as their overall talent, which is why I'm giving them the nod. But they've had, the Jonathan Taylor stuff, the Irsay stuff, they've had a couple of bad vibes in the preseason too. And usually, we talked about the Steelers' good vibes. The Colts seem to have some bad vibes going right now. So
They do, and you got to hope that this musical chairs at the quarterback position is not good for a team.
no,
And so you got to hope that Anthony Richardson is going to be able to, realize he's a rookie, and he hadn't even played that many games.
no.
So
But
his learning curve could be more than Stroud's learning curve.
it very well could be. All right. Second place, the Titans, and a lot of that's just Vrabel respect, right?
It's almost like somebody's got to be second.
Yeah. Well, all three of these teams drafted quarterbacks in the first round this year, right? Stroud,
Now,
Levis, and
Levis
Richardson.
Did Levis didn't go in the first round, did he?
Did he get? Oh, did he fall? He fell to the second. I mean, yeah.
He
But
fell
I mean,
second, yeah.
you drafted Malik Willis and Will Levis in back-to-back years. You're still dragging Ronnie Tannehill out there. This is just a nod to Vrabel, because Vrabel's got a little. He's not quite Belichick or Tomlin, but Vrabel just has his team ready to play and wins more games than they should, right?
Absolutely. But again, it's just an odd team that it should be better than it is, but it could be worse than it is.
Yeah, and I know that.
I'm still puzzled by the A.J. Brown trade.
Yeah, 24 years old when they traded him. Like,
Yeah.
it's not DeAndre Hopkins where you're trading, your young team and you're trading away your 30-year-old wide receiver. He's a 24-year-old absolute stud, and then the guy you drafted to replace him, Trayvon Burks, got carted off. Hopefully he's okay, but he's no A.J. Brown at the very least.
No, not at all.
And before we mention the actual number one team, as we've had this discussion, like if the bottom three could go in any order and we wouldn't be surprised, right?
Probably not. I mean, you would think because of Vrabel and the
Derrick Henry,
consistency
yeah.
in some areas that they're going to finish second. And you would figure the Colts because of Jonathan Taylor, if they figure that out, and if he's, I really don't think he's got anywhere to go.
No.
And, because we're seeing this running back thing not really making much movement. So you got to figure that they're probably solid there. And the Texans just have too many holes filled by too many very, very young players.
Okay, and then the team that probably should win the division by week 11, maybe? The Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, the hair, all of it, yeah.
Good coach. Turned everything around last year.
They won a playoff game last year.
Before.
Yeah.
They got won a playoff game that surprised everybody. Unless they believe their own hype, I think they should run away with this. I don't think it should be close at all.
No. I mean, they seem like the team that could be in, we talk about all the dogfighting that's going to be in every other division. Like, they could be the team that, cruises to their division title by week 12 and then is, sloppy in round one just because they're, they're too well rested and too tired. I mean,
if they don't go 6-0 in a division, I would be stunned and disappointed.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence last year started looking like he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And they've got, Calvin Ridley coming back off suspension. They just, and like you said, they've got good coaching, good quarterback, and that's what you need to win. And if you were doing locks as who's going to win their division, I think they might be the only one I would, if you had to give your gold padlock, giant padlock seal from old school gambling websites, they would probably be the one, right?
Yeah, I would think so. And a team we'll talk about next week would be another one, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move to both of our hometowns in the NFC South.
Okay.
Why don't you give your 4 first?
Well, I think my hometown's going to finish last.
I got to agree with you.
I don't see, I think Baker will win the starting job, but I just don't think there's a lot there to deal with.
Yeah.
They're not great on either line. Well, the defensive line's not bad. The offensive line's pretty weak. Receivers get a little long in the tooth. Running back is not a position of strength.
No.
I'm not sold on the coach either.
No.
I'm really not. I thought they should have performed better than they did last year. I just don't think he's the guy. I think he's a great assistant. I just don't think he's a number one coach.
I could very easily see Godwin or Williams being off this team by trade deadline. To the high, somebody goes down with an injury, somebody needs somebody, right?
Right.
One of the AFC West teams needs a little more firepower. You just go down, like they have 2 receivers getting near 30, no quarterback in place for the future. And like you said, I think Baker will start. I think we're going to see Trask start a few games, whether it's injury or not with Baker. It's hard to imagine Baker playing good enough to hold that position down for a year, right?
I mean, Baker will have well.
And again,
he is what he is.
Yeah.
He is what he is. I mean, they could finish 8-9.
Yeah. But if you're Tampa Bay,
7-10.
Yeah. And if you're Tampa Bay, like I said, I think the reason maybe you trade a Mike Williams or a Chris Godwin is this is the Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake May draft, right? Like, you want to be up there. I mean, there's some, there's the NFL equivalent of 5-star recruits in this draft, and there's almost 10 of them right now. Like, if you're not going to win the Super Bowl, you might as well try to get a chance of getting one of those guys, especially when it's Trask and Baker Mayfield, who aren't your future. And then you still have, the kid at Washington State. You got Bo Nix. You got other guys out there, quarterback. So, yeah. I don't think they're going to be as motivated. I don't, as a front office, I don't think I'd be super motivated to win.
Well, the interesting thing is, just digressing for a minute, it looks like a lot of our teams that'll be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes won't need Caleb Williams because they just drafted a number one quarterback.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see some trade maneuvers and other things there to see where he ends up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch it.
All right, who you got at number 3?
I'm going to let you do 3, and then I'll do 2, and we'll see where we go.
I have, and I think they've got a nice future because I do like Bryce Young, but I have the Carolina Panthers coming in 3rd. I think they've got some nice pieces in place, and I think Bryce Young might end up being the exception, not the rule, when it comes to the tiny quarterbacks. I just think he's special.
Okay.
But I like the other two teams more, talent-wise and coaching-wise, moving forward. So I think Carolina, you're in a nice place where you got some pieces, you got some draft picks, you might have your quarterback of the future. They'll be fun to root for, but I don't see them winning more than 7 games.
All right, I'm going to diverse on you here.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Atlanta as my 3rd.
Oh. And why do you have
Atlanta? I
Atlanta?
just don't like anything about Atlanta. I just don't think it's a team that fits well together.
They're big. Kyle Pitts is big. Drake London is big. Bijan Robinson is big. Cordell Patterson is big. You got a coach that, an Arthur Smith that knows how to run an offense, right?
Yeah.
I ended up putting them 2nd, so they'll be my 2nd team. So I guess we've talked about our 2nd and 3rd teams. I was tempted to put Atlanta in 1st. I think they're my dark horse to win their division.
I'm just not sold on the quarterback spot.
No, I kind of like Desmond Ridder coming out. When he started falling in the draft, I was hoping. I'm very happy with Kenny Pickett, obviously, from my Steeler hype moment 20 minutes ago. But I liked Ridder coming out. And I think he's an upgrade over Marcus Mariota from a throwing standpoint. Because you look at all the balls that, flew over Drake London's head, flew over Kyle Pitts' head. I think Kyle Pitts is going to make a real impact on football this year. Because he was open, they just kept missing him. Yeah. And I love Bijan Robinson. I think that guy is going to, his running back. He can
I
come
like
in.
Bijan Robinson a lot. I think that's your highlight.
And you look at you look at what Arthur Smith has done with Mike Davis and Cordell Patterson at running back.
Mm-hmm.
He's turned those guys into all pros, and now you're giving him Bijan Robinson in the backfield. Like, I can't. If he puts up 2,000 combined yards as a rookie, I would not be shocked.
Yeah, for some reason I like Carolina more than I like Atlanta. I think I just really don't like Atlanta. I think that's my problem.
It's understandable. Well, it's exciting because that means our number 1 team is the same, and it's from the city I live in.
Yes. I just think that they are ready to, shake off the last couple of years and kind of get back to where they were.
Yeah. Just like with the Steelers, like the last 2 years of Drew Brees' career was not good Drew Brees, right?
Right.
And then you had the poo-poo platter of Jameis Winston and tight end starting at quarterback and just whoever they could throw out there. And now you got Derek Carr, who, is sort of in that Kirk Cousins, maybe Dak Prescott level of competent and looks good, but not quite the man. But with those weapons they have on offense, and Kamara only getting 3 games, yeah, I think the Saints, who always have a good defense, I think they're going to do well this year.
I think Derek Carr is going to flourish with a different coach. I think he's going to be good. I think he's got great weapons.
He does.
Great weapons on the outside. I think they're great. Jimmy Graham's situation is kind of bizarre, but he's not really going to be a major contributor.
No.
But yeah, I like New Orleans. I just think they're, it's an organization. It's historically always been a fairly good organization over the last 10 years. They've done a lot of good things. They're smart. But I really like Derek Carr there.
And do you want to hear another?
I think, to me, he's the best quarterback in that division.
Oh, easily, yeah. For now, Bryce Young will be it.
And he's got the best weapons. So, and they have a decent, they've got a top 5 defense, maybe top 6 defense.
Potentially, certainly.
And you add that, and you turn the ball over to him a few times, yeah, I mean, you're going to outscore everybody.
And you want to hear why else you like them? Week
Why
one,
else?
week one they play the Titans. Then they're at the Panthers, at the Packers, the Buccaneers, the Patriots, the Texans, the Jaguars, the Colts, the Bears, the Vikings, the Falcons, the Lions, the Panthers, the Giants, the Rams, the Buccaneers, and the Falcons. That's maybe the easiest schedule in the league, right?
That might be the easiest schedule I've heard of, let alone this year.
Yeah, I was like that. But I saw, but I was scrolling through it earlier. I was like, this schedule is
Wow.
ridiculously easy, right?
That is a ridiculously easy schedule. They could go 14-3
Easy,
with
right?
that schedule.
Yeah, they could be a 1 or a 2 seed and be, the fifth best team in that in the playoffs.
Yeah. But you know what? If you go 14-3 or even 13-4,
Yeah,
you're going to be playing at home, and playing at home in that dome is tough.
it is because this city loves their Saints, and that place is as loud as any place I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
I like I said, I like them to come in first, and then I saw their schedule, and I'm like, I might pick them to win the NFC. Just
Jeez.
because
No, they're solid. Absolutely solid.
they don't have any game on there where you're like, that's a loss. They just don't. It's great. I mean,
No, you know where they'll lose? They'll lose if they go and play a decent team in a bad climate.
yeah. I mean, they could easily lose to New England. They could easily lose to the Giants. But I mean, like I said, there's not a juggernaut on their schedule. They're not playing the Chiefs. They're not playing the Chargers. They're not even playing the Jets. I mean, they just, you go down that list and it's like that's a pretty sweet schedule. Yeah. Like I said, I saw that one earlier and I was just like, wow, this is incredible. Yeah.
So next week we have to do West and North, right? We got to do them both.
Yeah, I guess we do. Yeah. So it'll be an all football show next week.
Because Thursday, this week's the last exhibition games.
That's true.
So
yeah.
we got to do them. We got to do them both. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that'll be fun.
I think so. I like talking football, so it just flow. I get slightly more excited when we're talking football. I just do. There's a little more energy.
And I like both divisions of the West, and I like both divisions of the North.
Yeah.
Although the one I think could be a runaway, so we'll have to see how that goes.
Yes, indeed. Well, I'm very excited for my entertainment moments. I have two.
All right.
The first is, if you were a fan of scary movies, you need to watch Cobweb. It stars Lizzie Kaplan and the actor who is Homelander on The Boys, which is a very popular show. It really captures that childhood fear and the things you do. It's got a cool mystery and a little twist to it. You might see it coming, you might not. And it has a couple of genuine, like, non-cheap scares, like not, cat jumping somewhere that gives you a little jump. It's got some legitimate scares. And the guy that made this, or the people that made this movie understood, like, shot selection and how to make you feel claustrophobic and feel things with the camera movements that a lot of directors just don't get. I'm shocked this movie didn't get more of a push because, like, I think it's, I watch a lot of scary movies and this one is really, really good. So Cobweb.
And where is it?
We bought it on Amazon. I think it was like $14 or something.
Okay.
But it's a new release. And again, you released the horror movie in August. I don't, the trailer looked good, all the reviews were good. We couldn't understand why they dumped it here. We were kind of expecting it to be, maybe not as good, but it was fantastic.
Well, always in the mood for a good horror movie.
And
And
then,
if it scares you,
yeah,
that's a good testament.
it's a great testament. And my second one is very non-conventional. We played a one-off board game in the Clue universe called Clue the Tudor Manor. And what we liked about it is you can play it legitimately as two players. So you can just have two people
Okay.
playing. And it's essentially you're solving the Clue mystery, but it's an escape room. So you're building the board out. You don't have a board to start with. Like, it'll tell you when to go to the board. And you're eventually you're trying to figure out what, who, and where. But you do it by solving all these little puzzles, as opposed to just, going into a room, like, it'll be a math puzzle, it'll be a moving object puzzle, like a logic puzzle. And those give you solutions that give you new cards, and you keep going and keep going and keep going.
Hmm.
The only downside is you can only play each game once because it's the same. I mean, you played the event, you played the escape room adventure. It took like 3 hours, but we had fun the entire. Like I said, you're solving a mystery and a puzzle, and I feel like there's not a lot of games that a couple can play where it's just two people that wouldn't be more enhanced by having more people there.
Okay, well, that's a good statement.
And you could play. I mean,
I'm
you
sure
can.
there's a lot of people looking for stuff like that.
Yeah, you can play with up to 5 people, like normal Clue, but it plays more like if you've ever done a mystery party game, like a whodunit. It plays a lot more like that. And like I said, they're actual puzzles, and you're working as a team, which makes it fun. So it's like, you know, they're very math-oriented puzzles, but they're still really fun. So if you look for the Clue escape room games, and then they come in a variety of difficulties. And what we were going to do maybe is check on Reddit and see if there's a group that's just trading these games. Because like I said, you can only play them once, and then you know what happens. You either give them away or.
Okay.
But yeah, but that's sort of a non-conventional entertainment moment for you.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, I'm still entranced with Dark Winds, the Tony Hillerman series on AMC. And I think it's half over now, but I mean, you watch it, obviously stream it, watch wherever you want to watch it, but just really, really well done. And I watched the first 3 episodes of Jury Duty.
It's really good, right?
I was surprised. Kaylee talked me into watching it. And I was thinking, but yeah, I'm very surprised. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was talking to Mom off the air. I think they have a little trouble because I think these shows typically, whether you're talking about, some of the Nathan For You stuff or even, some more of them, there's a couple metal, like room kind of movies where the person feels like they're the butt of the joke, and some people don't enjoy the negative aspect of some of those sort of shows. But this one's very positive, right?
Yeah, very positive and very, I don't want to give away the premise, but it's an interesting premise.
Yeah.
And it's so when you understand the premise, I think you really appreciate the acting.
Yeah. No, it's really enjoyable, and like I said, if you watch
it's an interesting concept.
Yeah, and if you watch the trailer, just understand this is the positive version of that show, and not because I enjoy them all, but I understand why some people like the rehearsal. Some people feel that there's aspects of that come off as a little bit mean, but this one is very positive. So if it doesn't look like it's normally your sort of thing, it probably is. Would be my endorsement from that standpoint.
Yeah. No, I liked it. Also, for my entertainment, Little League World Series, outstanding, as it is every year. And I'm sentimentally rooting for the team from Texas because the town's only 3,000 people.
Okay. That's as good a reason as any, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you like David and Goliath, it's hard to have more of a David than a Little League team playing in a World Series and the town's only 3,000 people big.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, because you're not drawing on, like if a team's from like Philly or something like that, you're probably drawing on all the best Little Leagues in Philly and, taking the All-Stars and putting it together. But this is a legit team of kids that live in this town. They grow up together and love baseball.
Nice. Very nice.
And I think I mentioned last week, Cuba's making their first appearance in the Little League World Series.
Yes, which is exciting.
And they look pretty good. I think the kid struck out. He faced 18 batters. He struck out 16.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. I guess I have a food moment.
Okay.
Kaylee took us to a pizza place in Minnesota called Punch Pizza.
Okay.
It's all Neapolitan style pizza, and the pizza was pretty good. And when you have the wood oven pizzas and you put them on a plate, that they can sometimes get soggy.
Yeah.
On that plate. Well, I think what got my attention is it comes on a plate with raised bumps.
Oh, nice.
So the pizza's and it doesn't get soggy.
Yeah, I think that's been the detriment of, it feels like as a nation, people have decided they would rather have hot pizza than crispy pizza, right? Because if you
Right,
go to,
and I would rather have hot crispy pizza.
yeah, if you can get both. But I mean, it seems like they've chosen because that they got those little thermal bags and they don't have holes in the boxes anymore, which means any crispy you had on that pizza just steams right away. And that's
Yeah,
not even including those crappy rotisserie ovens that all the chains use. But yeah, but I like that innovation. Remember,
yeah,
Donato's used to have that extra thing in their box to keep their pizza up.
yep. And that's kind of what you need to do.
Yeah,
But I still would have, if I went back again, then I would ask for it crispy. I
yeah,
didn't, because the first time I went there, I didn't ask for, I said, ate it the
of
way it
course.
came.
Yeah.
But crispy on this plate would have been special.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I like
Yeah.
plate innovations. That's very neat.
And they had probably about 20 different pizzas to choose from.
Okay. Exciting. And
I
then
think that's about it.
yeah, I wish I had food, but I have no food for you. Just wasn't that week.
Well, I'll be in Columbia, South Carolina this week, so I'll see if I come up with some good food. I'll come up with some places I haven't been before, so hopefully some of them will merit being discussed on the show.
Okay, that sounds good. And we have a lot of football to talk next week, and pretty much for the next 6 months. So it's also very exciting.
A lot of football, because plus our predictions, we should have some pretty. This should be the first real major cut down week with some, and maybe some trades and some acquisitions.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. All right, so if you have any thoughts, hit us up on social media, and I guess we'll talk to you next week.
Take care.